So kind of moving on, what are your other plans for this season other than like being full-time content creation?
Yeah, a couple other goals. I'd like to go to Europe this year or travel. Might go back to Japan. I want to travel more. I feel like as my hip is busted and my body's falling apart, I want to have more experiences. I've gone to travel a decent amount, but being able to experience different mountains and gnarly terrain and stuff that gets your heart racing just because it's freaking gnarly. I want to experience that stuff. I'm really excited to do that. And then really just trying to push Benetek, trying to just put as much quality product out there. And my underlining goal is to have 1 million followers. It sounds absurd, but that's like the goal. Like I want to have an impact on 1 million people's lives. And we've definitely had some impact. And I feel like every year I create the content, it's just getting different and getting better and completely evolving and going in the right direction that I want. And I got a couple ideas going into this season that could help bridge that gap. But I have some wild, ambitious goals. I want to own a resort. I want to have my own tow rope park. I want to
I'm creating that right now.
a tow rope park
Yeah.
at your house. Oh, all right. Well,
No, not at
I'll
my
be there in
house.
5 minutes.
No, not my house. Remember, so for anyone that's not listening, Tommy mentioned it earlier. I'm a nerd. I have an engineering degree. Anyways, my like end of the year project for that was actually me and my friends created a tow rope.
Mhm.
And I mean, it works, but it's not like the most ideal thing in the world. So we're kind of revamping it right now and talking with some local like parks, I guess, little areas in town that have been wanting to set up like a rail garden type of thing, but maybe don't have like that much funding or whatever it may be. So we want to kind of just have people help us like rebuild it, make it
Mhm.
sick, and then gift it to them and then have like a rail garden in town. So that's the goal. We'll see if that happens, but
That'd be so cool. I think
yeah.
the biggest challenge I have is finding land because I could probably get some people around to make a little rig or some kind of tow rope, but having land that I have access to has been like a really big challenge. Like,
Yeah. Land that you own too.
yeah,
Like buying land nowadays, especially in a mountain town,
yeah,
wild.
yeah, and the right zoning and all that stuff. And my end goal is to not operate a resort. I don't have any interest in that. But if I could own a resort and just go snowboard and do my own thing and have, if you're familiar with DC Mountain Lab, anyone out there? DC Mountain Lab?
Haven't heard of it.
Oh, they had this really cool like videos that they put out, and they had a house in I think it was Salt Lake City somewhere, and they had land and they had rope tow and they built dirt jumps and rails and all this stuff, and they made like movie parts at their little place. And they'd have Travis Pastrana come and try to do a backflip on a snowboard, and you can't even do a turn. And so they'd make all these really cool videos. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. As a kid, I watched these videos and just loved it. Imagine going outside and you have perfect jumps, perfect rails all the time, and you just go ride and vibe. And you have your friends come over and you get some music and you just go hang out. That's the kind
Yep.
of thing that I want to do, is have my own compound of just snowboard stuff and just create something super amazing. And I have this like whole idea of the rope tow goes up the middle, and then you have like these rails and these jumps and these airbags and this. And then most rope tows run flat. So there's like one side goes up, one side goes down, but I want the rope tow to go vertical so that there's a rope that goes up. The higher rope goes up and the bottom rope goes like hip height. But that
Mhm,
way you can access that rope either from the left side or the right side. It doesn't matter. So then you could have the
mhm.
jumps and rails and you could cross over and do all this stuff. And that's like my big, big dream, is to have my own snowboarding compound, have friends come over, run little camps. Imagine being able to have jumps, rails, rope tow, and it's on a private area that I own. And then I can run camps and have people come over and just have the best time of their life. That's something that I had an investor, potential investor, and we were working on something years ago, and then COVID happened, and then everything got shut down and never went through. Maybe
Yeah.
it's meant to be, but that's like the goal. It's like, how do I find 10, 15 acres that's like 500, 600 feet wide by 1500 feet vertical, and you just have like all these options or long lines, and then you could really create this ultimate progression. That's the
Mhm.
goal. Is you have a rail, and Copper did this for a while, is you have the same exact rail like 4 times in a row, but it gets progressively longer. But the technicality of it is the same. It's just you got to hold the trick longer. But imagine being able to hit rails in a row, do a frontside board side 4 times, and you have 1 minute laps. To be able to do 100 front boards, not
Yeah.
even a big deal. That's how
Yeah,
you
and
get
you
good
don't
at
have to
snowboarding.
hike.
Yeah. And then and that's like the big challenge that I face as a coach or trying to create my own thing is chairlifts, inefficient with time. Hiking, inefficient with energy. We need
Yep.
to minimize both those so you can maximize the output and get 100 high quality front board presses or front boards or board sides or 360s and do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then you come back the
Yeah.
next day and just do that. So that's big picture. So if anybody wants to help me out here, you let me know. But that's the goal, is to have a compound.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. I wanna open, like, my own version of a Woodward and then have the same kind of thing, both indoor and outdoor type of thing. So, yeah, like Tommy said, if any of you guys are out there and you're billionaires, like, just let us know. It'd be sick.
Just shoot me a DM on Instagram. I check them all.
You're a liar.
It gets challenging, and that's a good point. Not diving too far into that. In the winter, I get between 50 and 80 DMs a day. 10 days, I have 800 messages, and it's really hard to keep up with that when somebody's like, hey, I need advice on snowboard. I don't really do product reviews. I don't really give advice on boards because I'm very one dimensional. I buy a board, I love it, and I just ride that same model for the next 10 years, and I don't change because I would rather work on my own riding than trying to adjust to a board. So then it's hard for me to have all these experiences on these other boards because I don't want to send you in the wrong direction and say this board's the sickest thing ever and you hate it, or vice versa. This board sucks, but it might have changed your life. So I don't like doing product reviews, but it's hard to answer every single DM. But I also am not the person who's going to hire somebody to answer my DMs because I don't want, you don't have the advice that I have and you're coming to me for advice. So like, how do I land this 360? Well, if I have somebody, a virtual assistant, like, yeah, sick, good job. It's unauthentic. I want to be authentic. I don't want to hire people to artificially run my accounts. It's just not what I want to do. And so that's been like really challenging to answer every single DM and to be able to respond to everybody. It's a lot. If you know, even a minute a person, you're like, so I wake up at 9, or I wake up and get to the resort at 8. I'm recording from 9 to 12. And then from like 1 to 8 o'clock at night, I'm editing, putting out content, and I try to get some sleep. But then I'm also going to the gym at 5 or 6 a.m.
Mhm.
So it's hard to put in another hour or 2 hours of just answering DMs. So to your sly little comment, it's challenging. And so it's a double-edged sword because I don't want to give people wrong advice, but I'm also
Yeah.
giving some people no advice. So if I don't answer your DMs, I definitely apologize. It's been really challenging trying to find a balance of answering all the DMs and comment. And I'm a one-man band. I have Hillary helps me with some like designs of like, new Benetek hoodies and merch. And I have like a whole bunch over here that is coming out in like the next couple weeks. So like I have some people doing that stuff, but I don't have a lot of support. So
Yeah.
yeah, rambling.
Yeah, and I mean, you like it that way. You've always said you wanna be, like, the person that either makes it or fails. Like, you wanna be in charge no matter which way it goes.
It's interesting, and you have a good point because and not to sound like jaded or angry, but I've had a lot of experiences with a lot of people who say they're really amazing at filming or they're really amazing at editing and they hype up this what they do, and then come to find out like they're not at the level that they say they are, and now I'm paying premium price for a product that's not that good. And I've
Yeah.
had a lot of situations where I've had a lot of weird encounters with some people that are just like, oh, this is the best shot ever. And it's like, you missed it. My head's cut off, my body's cut off, and you got my left glove. But you think that's art. I don't need art. I'm not in it for art. I'm in it for getting the run in, the takeoff, the trick, the landing, and the out. Like, I need the story. That's my story, not the art of the glove. No one cares. So I've had a lot of challenges with that. So when it comes down to it, well, I'm just gonna do it myself to a point. To a point. One of my friends like helps film and stuff, and he like donates a lot of time to helping out. But it's an interesting spot. It's hard. It's also hard to give up control
Mhm.
because a lot of people again just build up this hype that they're amazing, and I just have maybe don't agree with that.
Yeah, well, and especially when you're in a niche thing too, and you have like a whole brand that's based on like yourself, basically, it's hard to be like, oh, this other person can do it and still resonate like you. Like that's just
Mhm.
not common to find.
And I want to get there. I want to be in a financial position where I can hire somebody and get a return on investment. That's the
Yeah.
goal. I don't want to just be struggling to put out content and just be burnt out. And I'm not, but I don't want to get to that point. And I want a team. But at this a certain time that I'm at is I'm investing any money that I'm making is either going back into equipment, going back into the channel, or going back into product to have high quality products. So I do pay a premium and trying to make money doing that so I can help feed the beast and invest and invest. And then the goal is to be able to have a team of people to help out and be able to facilitate that. But we're just not there yet. And going into this season, I'm sticking true to putting out quality content, quality product, and hoping I win in the end. So if I can stay true to that, I think that's what's gonna lead me to the road of success. But I don't want to do this on my own. It's a struggle. It's a lot of work.
A lot. Yeah.
And the rest of the video is going to be linked down below. We have over an hour and a half of this podcast and 2 hours for the episode before. So go ahead and check that out down below.